Alright, so let's see how to make a really nice looking day and night cycle for your game using Unity. Now this method is going to work across all the render pipelines, 3D, HD and URP. Now there are various ways in which this can be done. We can do it without programming by just using the animation system, but then we're going to target VR platforms, so it's going to be computationally expensive. We could use shader graphs, but then that's too complex. So instead, we're going to hit the sweet spot by writing a very simple script to make it work. So here I have my Unity project open, which has already been set up with the Oculus Integration SDK. Now, if you're not sure how that's done, then feel free to check out this video over here. Also, I downloaded this really nice looking environment from the Unity's asset store. I will leave a link for this in the description, and I opened up the demo scene that came along with this package. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do here is to search for the interaction rig in the project window. Select the prefab, drag and drop it into our hierarchy. Then select the camera and let's copy the transform component values. Select the rig and let us paste it over here. Now, since we already have the flow tracking set, which we can confirm over here, we can select the rig and make sure that the Y value is set to 0. Now we can go back to the asset folder and let's create a new material for our skybox, and we'll call this as skybox material. From the shader drop down, we'll select skybox and procedural. For now, I'm going to leave the values as it is. I'll come back to this later on. Next, click on Windows, Rendering, Lighting. Click on Environment tab and let's drag and drop the material that we created just now. So with that, we have set up our scene. Now to set up our day and night cycle, we're going to write a script which is going to take the directional light and rotate it about the x-axis while keeping the values of the other two direction constant. And at the same time, we're going to change the color of the directional light, the sky color and equator color as well. If you want, you can change the ground color and fog color along with it, but for now, we're going to just stick to these three. And to do that, we're going to right click in the asset folder, create a C# script, and let's call it as day and night cycle. Let me open this up and I will see you in Visual Studio. Alright, so here we are in Visual Studio. First, we're going to declare all the variables that we'll be requiring for the script. To start off with, we have the sun variable, which is of type light, and we're going to serialize it so that we can reference it from the editor. Next, we have a variable time of the day, which is a floating variable and it ranges from 0 to 24. So it basically tells us at what time of the day it is. Then we have a variable called sun rotation speed, which is of type float and is going to determine how fast we want the sun to rotate. And finally, we're going to have three more variables which are of type gradient, one for the sky, one for the equator and one for the sun. And this is going to store the lighting preset. Alright, to write the function to update sun's rotation, we'll type it as private void update sun rotation, and in here we're going to create a temporary float variable called as sun rotation, and this value is going to be math.lerp between -90 to 270, and it's going to interpolate between time of the day divided by 24. Now when we go back to Unity, I'll explain as to why we are using -90 to 270, but for now, let's just continue. Next, we'll type it as sun.transform.rotation, and this is going to be equal to the quaternion.euler. And here we pass in the values for x, y, and z. So that is going to be the sun rotation, comma, sun.transform.rotation.y. and sun.transform.rotation.z. And next, to write the function to update the lighting, we're going to type it as private void update lighting, and in here we are going to create another temporary float variable called as time fraction, which is going to be equal to time of the day divided by 24. Now to set the ambient color for sky, equator and sun, we're going to use the render settings. Ambient equator color is going to be equal to equator color dot evaluate, and let's pass in the time fraction. Now same thing for the sky color as well. Render settings dot ambient sky color is going to be equal to sky color dot evaluate time fraction, and for the sun, since we already have it, we're going to type it as sun dot color, and this is going to be equal to sun color dot evaluate time fraction. Next, if we want to see this change happening in the editor, we need to write on validate function. So on validate, we need to call these two functions. So it's going to be update lighting, and before that we need to update the sun position, sun rotation as well. And finally, if we want it to work during play mode, we need to call this in the update function. So on update, we want to first increment the time of the day value. So time of the day value plus equal to time dot delta time times the speed of rotation. And next we need to make sure that the time of the day is set back to 0 once it exceeds 24. So we say if time of the day is greater than 24, then time of the day is going to be equal to 0. And finally, we can call these same two method once again over here. Alright, so that's about it. Now you can save the script and let's go back to Unity. So here we are back in Unity. Now you can create a new object and add the script to that, or you can just go ahead and add it to the directional light. And once we're here, it needs a light source. So I'm going to select this, drag and drop it over here. Now time of the day value, so as you move the slider, you can see that the sun is going to rise and then set once again. Now we can set the rotation speed to something like 1.5. This you can again choose yourself as well. Sky color preset, now I want it to be a little realistic. So 0 indicates 12 in the midnight, and as we go, this is going to be 7 in the morning, then 12 in the afternoon, and then back to 24 hours. So for my sky color, when it is midnight, I want it to be black. Same thing at this end as well. Somewhere in between 50%, that's at 12 in the afternoon, I would like to have it at bright white. And somewhere in between, I would like to have a little bit of orange, a little bit of blue, and same thing over here as well. Alright, now I'm going to click on this new preset so that I can apply the same to the equator color as well. And now for the sun color, at night it does not have any color, so I'm going to set it to black. And at 12 in the noon, I'd like it to be white once again, and somewhere in between, little bit of orange or yellowish. Alright, so now if we just test this out, there we go. It looks so nice and it looks realistic as well. So now let's press play and test it out as well. And we have the sunrise. Can we see the sun? Yeah, there we go. And then we have the sunset as well. Perfect. So now let's exit the play mode. Now we can test this in VR as well. Before that, make sure to delete this camera that is there and you have only the interaction rig. Let us save it. And now I'm going to connect my headset and I'll just be back in a moment. And I've connected my headset using Airlink. Now if you want to know how that's done, you can check out this video over here. So let's press play and test this out. Alright, this environment looks really nice and we have the sunrise with sun and there it goes. And we have the sunset. Perfect. I forgot to explain why we are setting these values to -90 and 270. And that's because we have the time of the day starting from 0, which is 12 in the midnight. And setting the direction light rotation to -90 represents just that. And so as we increase the slider value, the sun's position in the sky is represented accurately. Alright, so that's it for this video. If something did not work for you, then do let us know in the comments below. And I'd highly appreciate it if you can leave a like and subscribe. And as always, I will see you in the next one.